Can you spot the difference between a black bear and a grizzly bear? Now, it might seem like a really easy question, but it actually trips up a lot of people. Hey y'all, welcome to BioBios. Today we're looking at Ursus americanus, or more commonly known as the American black bear, who, despite their name, isn't actually always black. And this is where they get into a lot of trouble. See, I live in Colorado where the only species of bear that we have is the American black bear, but there are tons of sightings of grizzly bears every year, and yet none of them have been confirmed. So what's happening is people see a brown colored bear and immediately think that it's a grizzly bear, but black bears can be black, brown, blonde, and sometimes even white. So how do you tell a black bear apart from a grizzly bear? Well, there's actually a really easy trick. You just have to look at where the bear is tallest. See, a grizzly bear is going to be tallest at his shoulder. This is what gives them that really strong looking profile. But a black bear is actually going to be tallest towards its butt. And it's always helpful to know if a grizzly bear or a black bear could even be living in that region. The black bear used to have a historic range that spanned coast to coast on the North American continent. They were up in the top reaches of Canada and down into Mexico. And today they can still be found in Canada, the United States, and Mexico, but they're going to be a little bit less prevalent and are in smaller population groups. This is mainly due to habitat loss, especially because black bears like their privacy. They can be found in mountainous regions between 3,000 and 10,000 feet of elevation and really prefer living in forests. Sometimes they'll venture out into more open areas like meadows and shrublands to find food, but they tend to favor those more covered areas like forests. Even still, it's really important that they find food, especially as they prepare for hibernation. See, in a phase that we call hyperphagia, black bears eat as much food as they can, which actually has a significant impact on the environment. First of all, black bears help regulate mammal populations, especially smaller animals like young deer and rabbits, but the majority of a bear's diet is going to come from fruits, berries, and insects. And so as they eat the fruits and berries, they poop out the seeds, which now have a nice, warm patty of fertilizer to grow in. So they actually help regrow the forest that they're living in. But eventually they get ready to hibernate. In the winter, they'll find a nice hollowed out tree or cave, or sometimes they'll even dig their own den to hibernate in. Black bears will decrease their metabolic rates, oxygen intake, and even the blood flow to their limbs to conserve as much energy as possible so they can make it through the winter. During hibernation, mama bears are going to give birth to their cubs, and typically this is going to be 1 to 4 cubs per litter, but the record is actually 6 up in Pennsylvania. And the cubs will stay with the mom during hibernation and eventually emerge with her in the spring. She'll teach them the bare necessities, what to eat, how to eat, and where to get that food. She'll stay with them for 16 to 17 months before they graduate to adulthood and have their own cubs, continuing that sweet, sweet circle of life. And as I kind of mentioned before, bears are omnivores, which really just means that they eat both plants and animals, which is great for hibernation because they need all the food that they can get. And we can even see this story being told in their teeth. If we look at the front of a black bear's skull, we're going to see these really sharp, pronounced canines. And these are great for puncturing prey and making sure that they can't escape from the black bear's mouth. But if we move further back in the jaw, we're going to see these kind of flat, rectangular shaped molars. These are well adapted for grinding up plant matter and chewing up strong plant fibers. So from just the teeth alone, we can tell that black bears eat both plants and animals, meaning that they're omnivores. And that's Ursus americanus. I think that's all we have time for today. I hope you guys learned something. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of BioBios. Now go out there, make your own discoveries. Don't be afraid to fail. And as always, leave the world better than you found it.